2 Volkswagen Jetta with a TDI. It's an ALH car, and their problem is they were driving down the road. They had been having a battery light come on, and they eventually, the car quit running. Like some lights came on the dash and the car quit running. So they put an alternator in it. After they put the alternator in, they said when they touched the battery terminals to the battery, they sparked a lot. And then eventually when they hooked them up, they were getting really, really hot and glowing red. Probably not the best thing in the world. Very, very weird. Let's see what we can find out on this. I'm going to give it a good look over before I actually try and hook these battery terminals to it. Probably the battery needs charge. Some wiring left over here. This is obviously a 5-speed conversion done by somebody who doesn't care about the quality of their work. Alternator cable seems fine. Don't really understand what's going on. I'll give it a further look over and video some more. I'm applying some logic to this car here, and he said this problem started after the alternator was replaced, but really did it? I don't know. I have a lot of trouble believing that the alternator could fail and flow enough amperage through it that it would turn the cables red hot, especially since there's a fuse right here. I don't think that's the case. And honestly, if any of the current goes through here, it's going through one of these fuses, it would blow the fuses. It wouldn't get red hot. I want to point out that this has a additional thing here. They said they had never had that hooked up. So applying that logic that if it's glowing red hot and these are all fused, there's no way it can be anything but the current going through this wire here. And that wire goes exclusively to the starter. So my theory has to be that the starter is stuck on. Now it may be failed and not actually turning. It also could be maybe the motor seized up. I don't know. Customer may have cranked on it and cranked on it and cranked on it trying to get it to start, and the starter solenoid or seized up, and now it's flowing current all the time. That has to be the logical assumption of what's happening here. And the way to test for that would be to remove the wire from the starter and see if we can then hook the battery terminals up. And that's what we're going to do. We just moved the car off the rack over there in order to put this one on the rack, and after we do that, we will put remove the cable from the starter and see what happens from there. And as I already said, I would love to hook this up and show you the cables glowing red hot, but I don't think that's a wise thing to do. We're just not going to do that. We're going to trust that the customer understood when they were touching it, it was sparking. Maybe we can show that. We'll go ahead and hook this up here and then touch it and see if it sparks. It doesn't spark at all, probably because the battery's pure dead, but we'll put a charger on it and maybe I'll show you after it's charged up. Okay, I'm going to try and demonstrate the problem for you here. We have our boost box set up in there because the battery was completely dead. We have the battery over there on the battery charger charging up. And the battery may be dead because so much amperage is being drawn out of it with this failure. So we have the positive hooked to the positive, and there's the negative. And I'm going to tripod this so that I can show you that it sparks. This is kind of scary. That is a big spark. It should not spark that much. So, once again, my theory would be that the starter is the problem because the current can't be going, that much current can't be going through this fuse box because it would blow any of these fuses. And so there's only 2 places current can go on this. It can go through this fuse box into the car or through this cable to the starter. So we'll disconnect the starter. Then we'll do the same check again and see what happens. FYI, we tried to use our amp clamp to do this, but the 9-volt battery in it is dead, and I don't have any other 9-volt batteries, so we're stuck with the low-tech method of diagnosing this car. would say make sure you disconnect the battery before you do this, but on this car, we, of course, have the battery disconnected. Okay, I'm just pulling that cable out of the way. I don't really want it to touch ground either. Easier said than done down here. There we go.
Please let me know when you're recording so I can keep my mouth shut.
I'm recording the rest of the day. Okay, so let's turn this on right here, and then we'll do the same check again, see if any sparkage happens. Scared? I'm scared. I'm not scared. Obviously, starter's drawing the amperage. Most likely, I would guess that it would be the solenoid stuck, mechanically stuck in the position where it gives current to the starter. But it seems strange that the starter isn't, like when I do that, the starter doesn't go chunk and try and turn the motor over or something. So I think it probably would be best just to get a starter. I'll talk it over with the customer and we'll make a decision from there. If their money's really, really tight, maybe we can try a solenoid. But I'm not convinced that's going to fix it in its entirety. But we'll talk to the customer and I'll get back with you. Okay, I had Bob replace the starter on this. We're going to do some other work to it and we're going to clean up the 5-speed conversion stuff. But for now, I just want to make sure it runs and everything else is okay. We'll probably check the reverse lights and the cruise control while we test drive it. But there's the box the new starter came in, old starter, and we will start this thing up, make sure the problem is corrected. Obviously, he hooked the battery up so it isn't sparking terribly. And we did charge the battery. So let's get this thing started. All right. We'll go for a road test. Well, that was an easy diagnosis and fix. The key point in the diagnosis was just to use logic in that current had to be going through the starter in order to cause the problem. We're going to do some other repairs to the vehicle, but none that relates to the diagnosis in this video. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something from it, be sure and click the like button. And if you want to donate to the continued production of these videos, visit my website at www.kansascitytdi.com and find the donate icon. And if you want to watch some more of my videos, there'll be one up here and one down here. And don't forget to subscribe.